Alright, good luck, man.
I will discard to ride. Set the energy generator.
What is that?
That's my energy counter.
We're not using those generators anymore.
What is that?
Well, I'm glad you asked. These beauties are from our sponsor, My Metal Cards. My Metal Cards makes these beautiful looking metal cards, primarily for Cardfight Vanguard, although they also have some for Magic the Gathering, like these treasure tokens, along with Flesh and Blood TCG. But of course, the main one they focus on is Vanguard. And they constantly update their shop with a bunch of beautiful looking markers. We have, of course, Luard, which I like a lot, Dayusha. They even have ones based on the most recent season that's still airing right now. So we have ones for Lishafale. We have a featured one right here, which is Inabe Now versus Kanae Senka from the most recent episode, which looks incredible. And of course we have their standout, their bestseller Metal Nation Energy Markers. These things are beautiful, and they're even shown off in the video you just saw. My favorite one is Stoicheia, for obvious reasons, but there are so many options to choose from on My Metal Cards. We'll drop a link here in the top left corner and also in the description below. Check out My Metal Cards and you won't regret it. Their quality is top notch. Thank you to My Metal Cards for sponsoring this video. And if you use our promo code EMPIRE5, you get $5 off your next purchase. It's a deal you don't want to miss out on. Thank you to My Metal Cards for sponsoring this video. Welcome to Empire Clash, a new tournament series that will take the place of our current fight videos. In this series, we'll be putting 8 members of Team Empire against each other to see who is the strongest member within a given booster set. The current booster set that we will be covering is Divine's Booster Set 2, Illusionless Strife, with the inclusion of Festival Collection 2024. The rules are simple. We have a top 8 style single elimination bracket with the matchups randomly decided beforehand. Going through each round, we will watch the team members defeat their opponents and make it to the finals to determine the strongest fighter. However, because we're doing the series based off a booster set, there is a twist. The fighters may only choose decks from the set, whether they be new decks or decks that got named direct support within the set. Each player had picked their decks beforehand, so now let's introduce our players. Anthony, with the Faded One of Taboo, Zorga Nadir. Tony, with the Faded One of Miracles, Rezael. Myself, with Marine General of the Great Sea, Christianos. Steve, with Salvation Wing Angel, Seraph Style. Dylan, with the collab deck, Nino Nakano. Lupe, with the classic, Prison. Josh, with Master of Gravity, Barrow Magnus. And finally, Frank, with the new lyrical deck, Flam Blam. Before we start though, if you enjoy our content and end up enjoying Empire Clash, it would mean the world if you dropped a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more. We love the support y'all give us and it keeps us motivated to make better content. Thank you. Alright, without any further ado, let's start round 1. Anthony versus Tony. Zorga Nadir versus Rezael. Good luck to both players involved. Commentating this fight is JC. Thanks JC. Always appreciate the help. I'll see y'all on the other side once a winner is determined.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Empire Clash. This is JC, and today I will be doing commentary for round 1 with Anthony and Tony's game. I'm not participating in this clash, which makes me an impartial commentator, and I haven't seen this game yet, so I'll try to give good commentary as the game's going. Alright, so stand up Vanguard. It looks like Tony's going first. He's playing, I think, Rezael? Yep, the grade 1 Alden usually signifies Rezael because it's just like a really good grade 1. And then I believe Anthony is playing Zorga, so we'll see what happens on write-up. Zorga going second can actually be pretty scary because you have access to more energy And you can, I mean, if you want, use your divine skill turn right away, although they typically don't do that. Okay, so he's going to get to draw from going second, and then it looks like Anthony's just going to swing face with Vanguard. No guard, front trigger. Okay, that's 1 damage from Tony, for Tony. All right, then Tony, when he rides up, will get to look at top 5 if he reveals 3 different grades in his hand. And it can only call a grade 1 or less. So let's see if he reveals 3. What's going on? Okay, he's using skill. So, yep, 3 different grades. Oh, and he's got the order too. I bet that's going to come up. And he can only call a grade 1 or less from the top 5. So let's see if he hits it. And it looks like he doesn't. I think you could call a trigger, but you don't have to. It's up to 1. Then he's going to activate Wisdom. This will let him draw 2 and then call 2 cards from hand. You've probably seen this in Luar builds in the past, but it also comes up in Rezael because of Teofault. And it looks like he's considering which 2 to call. Now we can kind of see his hand, but I'm gonna try to avoid looking at the hand too much. It looks like he's calling Biscotti and he called Saragown. Sorry. So he's gonna swing with Biscotti first. This is just a 5k shield if Anthony wants to guard. So yep, throw away the Abomination. And then 23, no guard, another front trigger. Okay, so discarding Abomination to guard here, it's really good. Saragown, you look at top 2, and he's going to add a card to hand. So like I said, discarding Abomination to guard here, it's pretty smart because that card can just come back after you Alchemagic. He's going to discard an order to ride up into his grade 2. And then the grade 1, when rode upon, I'll wait for the little skill to pop up, lets you Soul Blast 1, look at top 7, then he can discard a normal unit and add an order to hand. So it looks like he's going to discard, he's doing a little think here. I can't actually tell what he discarded, but he discarded a normal unit and it looks like he might have whiffed off of the order. Sure enough, he's just going to go straight into Shadow Cloak. I was wondering why he wasn't shuffling. And he's going to mill the draw 2 order. I don't know all the orders names, so you'll have to excuse me. But seeing Shadow Cloak here is really good. That way you can get like the setup that you need. And now he's going into Rousing Rasp. Okay, that's really interesting. Not all builds play this. You reveal the top 5, and then you can discard you add to hand a card that's equal to or greater than your Vanguard's grade, and then you discard the rest. So it looks like Anthony got some pretty decent mills there. He's going to swing with Van first, which I think is smart because you play front triggers. A heal, that's huge. That's actually really good because Zorga Nadir does not need a ton of CD. In fact, sometimes it doesn't need any. Tony also hits a heal. It's a bit unfortunate. I would just swing at Vanguard. That way you're pushing damage. And hits a crit. That is good. If that crit stays in damage, then Anthony will be happy. Okay, it's Tony's turn, and he's going to ride up to grade 3. Rezael's pretty happy going first or second, but going first is pretty nice because you're going to get your 4 attacks. And then the grade 2 is going to let him call from drop. So he's giving a little think here. Anthony looks like he's sorting his drop zone, which is smart because next turn he'll have big brain plays to do. And I can't really tell what he's going to call the triple rare. I forgot his name. I'll just wait for it to appear on the screen. And then he called, I'm guessing that's his countercharger. A little hard to tell from the glare. Yeah, it's the countercharger. So he's going to swing with Van first, probably just to call Saragown because he's only at 2 damage, sure enough. So he's going to go for 3 attacks, which, I mean, Anthony can really do whatever he wants here, considering he has no damage. So it looks like he's going to no guard, twin drive, nothing, and then a heal. Okay. So it's going to be a really drawn-out game with all these heals, but 1 damage, and he hits a defensive. Goodness, look at all these defensives. All these triggers, I should say. That's huge. All right, Saragown's going to get his effect, and I think Tony's swinging at Van. I don't know why you wouldn't here. Yeah, takes another damage, no trigger. And then Saragown's gonna proc, and then I would probably, if I were Anthony, I'd probably guard this last attack, because you really don't need to be at 3. but we'll see what he does. Oh, yeah, and then the new guy's gonna go to Soul, draw a card, and then you can scry the top card of your deck and leave it on top and bottom. Really good card for Rezael. All right, let's see if Anthony guards the Biscotti. He does not. Okay. He must really like his hand. And intercepting with Shadow Cloak wouldn't make a ton of sense because you want to abuse that Shadow Cloak to recycle whatever you want, whether it's Persona Ride or PGs, because it does feel a little rough having to call Shadow Cloak off of Nadir's skill. So he's going to ride up here into Zorga, and when the grade 2 is rode upon, he can add an order from drop back to hand. So it looks like he's going to add, I actually didn't catch what that was, but I'm sure it'll come back up. Alright, so now he's going to use Zorga's skill, Energy Blast 2, bind an order from drop. Then you get to call 2 units, and they each get 5k power for every different named order in your bind zone. So turn 1, this usually starts off as just 5k, but you'll see later on that this scales really well into the late game for Zorga. So he's going to call this grade 1, which I'm not sure what that does, and he's going to call the grade 1 from the ride line, and they both get 5. I'm sure I'm about to figure out what that card does. And it looks like he's just going for big boosters. Before he Alchemagics. So when she's placed, you get to Soul Charge, okay, and get 5k. So he's just going to turn her into a big booster, which is pretty cool. Now we are just waiting to see what his Alchemagic's going to be. And it looks like he's going to Alchemagic with Caliburn and the Drawing Order, which is pretty cool. Honestly, I did not know he was playing Caliburn. So it looks like he's decided to draw off of Caliburn, which I think is fine. Like, again, you don't need... oh my god. So no wonder he took all the damage. He just turned his Alchemagic into a draw 4. Dang, good for you, Anthony. That's pretty sweet. Now he's using Shadow Cloak again, from his hand to just mill an order, thin a card. Wow, that was a really cool play. And then the Abomination at the beginning of battle phase can call himself, and I think if your opponent's on grade 3, they get a crit. So pretty nice pressure, and he's got plenty of energy right now. I'm wondering if he's going to use his skill, because the only problem I would see with that, oh, yep, he's going to go for it. So you get 5k until end of turn for each bound order. So that one's going to get another 5 after binding another order from drop. Sorry, it's going to get 10. Okay. So respect to that. The good news about that is he has 3 energy right now. So next turn, he'll be at 6, which means he can use another Abomination and still use Zorga's skill. So again, going second, you have a little more freedom with your energy plays. All right, and now I don't know what else he might be considering. His hand is massive right now, which, again, good for him. He might be considering whether or not to swing with a rear guard first. Oh, nope, he already swung with Van. Okay, so good. This is 13 against 28, 2 to pass, and he hits a crit. All right, so he's going to give... Looks like he's going to give all effects to Abomination. So it's a big rear guard. And then, or sorry, to one of the Abominations, probably the one without the crit. And then, yeah, so here's the 2 crit over trigger. Okay. So that's a little unfortunate. Okay, another crit in damage. That's good. It seems like Tony gave that to the Vanguard. I probably would have given that to the rear guard. Okay, turn just ends. The good news about that for Anthony is that he already has a massive hand, so you're not really missing out on like a lot of ceiling because of that defensive OT. But the downside of that is now their hands are pretty comparable, and Rezael is going to farm up a hand here pretty soon thanks to Saragon. No Persona Ride. That helps a lot. Definitely helps Anthony a lot. So Tony's going to swing. I actually forgot what that card's name is. But with the old card from the Youthberg trial deck, and Anthony guards it. And then I know that this card retires to like Soul Blast. What's his name? Cadwalla. Yeah. And then looks at top 3, and then based on the grade selected, I think you can either call or draw. And I know I could just read the skills, but they're coming up on screen very quickly, and we all have a basic understanding, I think, of what some of these cards do. And then Saragon's going to thin another card. Good stuff. Also, the good thing for Anthony is Tony's still only at 2, so he's very limited about what he can call from his drop zone. So let's see what Tony decides to call off of Rezael's skill. He can only call either a grade 2 or a grade 1 or a grade 0. So it looks like he's going to go for the grade 2. Triple rare. What's his name? Milbaris. And this card will get 10 now that he was called by Vanguard skill. Guarding with the Overtrigger, so this is a no pass. Twin Drive, Rezael, and a PG. That's pretty good against Zorga. You want to try to hold on to those PGs for as long as possible. Okay, T-Fault. I think this is just 20. Yeah, 20. Double Intercept makes sense because you can just get those back with Alchemagic. And then this should also be 20. You could guard this, but he's just going to take it, which is fine. Crit, little Sag. And then Milbaris is going to look at is going to draw him a card, and then look at the top card of the deck. And Tony's going to put it on the bottom. Alright, so still hasn't used Divine Skill. I think that's smart considering both players. Neither player is in like a super advantageous position right now. So, Anthony gets the Persona Ride, which I think is pretty crucial in Zorga because again, your numbers do scale out of control. Then let's see what happens next. He's an empty board right now, so that means he has to be a little more selective about what he calls from Zorga's skill, in my opinion. Tony looks like he's showing off his hand. Both players have very big hands right now. So, using Nadir's skill, he's going to call the Soul Charge Girl again, and... okay, call the grade 1 in the ride line. Okay, so just going for big number, I think that's fine. Yeah, especially since the one disadvantage Anthony has right now is he's at 4 against Tony's 2. So I guess this turn you're just going to try to push Tony into like kill range for next turn. Alchemagic with Miasma and the Brand of Corpses, which I think basically gives power to units called from drop. I could be wrong, I didn't want to read that fast. But Miasma is going to let you call something from drop, and then your front row will get 5k. So it looks like he's going to call the Shadow Cloak. Interesting. And then Miasma is away. Dang, that one booster is huge. The grade 1 girl. What is that? Is that a 33k booster? Jeez Louise. I sound like a grandfather. Jeez Louise. Double Abomination comes back. Very, very good card. They're going to get their crit. And then I wonder if Anthony's going to use one of their skills. Yeah, I think that's fine, because Persona Ride also makes it... Persona Ride's going to make that column super unmanageable. And having the crit is also good. He might Divine Skill this turn. Again, just to try and put Tony into kill range for next turn. We'll have to see. But with Tony's hand and with both OTs being out of deck, I think he can definitely guard this turn out however he wants, in my opinion. But I think no matter what, he will be at 4 by the end of this turn. And it's not pre-watch. This is my first time watching. So it looks like we're just doing some calculations right now. The Abomination that used his Energy Blast 4 will get, I think, 15k? Or no, 20k. Sorry, 20k. Yeah, so based on the rearguard swing, it looks like he is going to use Divine Skill this turn, but who knows? Who knows? Those Zorga players are tricky. 78. Yep, that eats a PG. That's what you want. Using that big swing with a crit to... Oh, and dropping a crit. Okay, I guess he just wants to put it back. Divine Skill. Pretty smart. Just gonna restand that massive 78k column. And it looks like that might have been a no guard. Sure enough. Okay, Twin Drive. Nothing. And a crit, yep. And then power's going to the other column. So first check, nothing. Second check, nothing. Okay, that means this is probably going to eat through the rest of Tony's hand. Also, he drove check the Blitz order for Veleno, which I think is just a 25k shield, but he doesn't have energy, so that card's dead. I think it's an Energy Blast 2 to play that Blitz order. Alright, so I guess just calculating numbers on this. I think he still has that PG, yeah, so PG. Oh, and he also still has Elementaria, I think, so he might have to drop that as well for... This is still 78, I think, yep. Okay, so we know that Tony he's used 3 PGs and he still has Elementaria, so honestly, I still think that's a really good turn for Anthony, because Tony's in kill range and he's used a ton of PGs, so as long as he just survives, he just has to keep doing this until they die. But Tony does have the Persona Ride, and with that last turn, I'm guessing he's going to Divine Skill since he was discarding crits with his PGs. But first, he's using Counterblast for Wisdom, just to go a little deeper into his deck. And let's see what he calls. Cadwalla and... Oh, and he's discarding a crit for the remaining cards, okay? So I think that's fine. I think just trying to put as many crits back in deck, because Anthony is also at 4. So he can't exactly take all the liberties with this turn. He may have to also drop most of his hand. Divine Skill. I think there were 5 crits put back. I could have been wrong. Cadwalla swings first. This should just be 20. I don't think Cadwalla gets power on his own. Double Intercept. Yeah, I think that's smart. You don't really need CB for this next turn. We'll just use an order that doesn't deal with it. Calling the... No, or is it a call or add? It looks like it's an add. Excuse me. Rezael. Now, Rezael can call a grade 2 and a grade 1. With being at 4. Yep. So just call the combo. It's going to get 10, and then Saragon will do its thing at the end of that turn. And this is where the triple rare really comes in handy. Oh, I'll say that in a second. PG for the Vanguard swing. This is going to be triple drive. First check. Crit. Yep. Just doing some calcs. It looks like all effects are going to that column. Another crit, probably just split it to the Teofalt to make sure both columns are lethal. Yep. Third check, nothing. Okay. So this is where the triple rare will really come in handy, because now that you're on Divine Skill turn, if you see a trigger at the top of the deck, you know you're going to... oh, well, he's at 4, so never mind, that's a little different. It's still important to try and find a trigger on top, because you need defensives against Zorga. So dropping 3 cards, and then he might have another PG. Or he might just have a bunch of triggers. I think he'll be able to guard this. This is a smaller attack coming up. He's going to draw, and then let's see if he likes the card on top. He doesn't. Okay, so he puts a bomb. Deck's getting pretty small. I think this column's smaller. Is it 30 or is it 40? No, I think it's 40, because Teofalt gets 10 on her own. Oh, okay, it's only 30. Oh, because she already got the 10, and then... Wait. Wasn't that supposed to be 40? Maybe he didn't give power to her from that second crit. Interesting. Alright, Energy Charge 3. Anthony's starting his turn. And it looks like he doesn't have Persona. Nope. But we now have 5 different orders in the bind zone, which means whatever he calls is going to get a lot of power. 25k power to be exact. The deck is also getting small on Anthony's end too, so I don't know if he'll be able to call the... Oh, never mind. He wants to call the Soul Charge Girl. That's fine. Calling the Soul Charge Girl and... What's the second call target? Oh, the on hit. Very cool, very cool. The on hit is interesting here because Tony does have a higher chance, I think, of checking a trigger since he put a card on bottom. So that means he has to be cautious taking the on hit because you don't really want to give Anthony the freedom and the ceiling of adding another card to the bind zone. So what did he's using the order guide to search for, or to mill, sorry, the, did he mill the Blitz order? Is he allowed to do that? Anyway, Alchemagic with Death's Restraint and the Band of Corpses. So, looks like he's just trying to populate the board, or even just add orders to hand, and then, again, just add more ceiling to his turn. Now, looking at Tony's side of things, he does have 3 energy, which means Biscotti is live. He also has 1 face-up CB. And he did check 2 crits, so his shield is not non-existent, and I think he still has Elementaria. Now that Anthony's Divine Skill turn is done for, that does give Tony a little more breathing room. However, both Abominations have a crit. They're not going to get their extra power, but they both have a crit, which means all 3 columns can't really be taken. I mean, you could maybe risk the Vanguard column, but I wouldn't try it because, again, deck sizes are getting pretty low. Now, they might have asked for a trigger count at this point, but I'm not really sure. Zorga is definitely the smallest column, though, without Persona Ride. So, Tony's going to guard it out. He's going to use Biscotti, using energy to draw. Excuse me. Intercept. Alright, so this is a 2 to pass. It's a little scary with front triggers, but let's see how it plays out. Or was it it might have been a no pass. Crit. All effects to the left column. And then second check is a blank. Coffin shooter or something like that. Alright, let's see how Tony guards out these last 2, because again, they both have a crit. Now one of them has 3 crit. Alright, so if I just eyeball this, 15, 45, it's like 53, I think? Or maybe even more, 63, yep. It's 55k shield. Because Saw just got 10k power. And then I think he has Elementaria for this last one. Yep. Sure enough. Alright, so very well guarded for Tony. Also very good that Anthony didn't check a second trigger, because I think that might have eaten his entire hand. Angel Ladder. Double Teofalt. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. You're just going to keep thinning the rest of your normal units.
Yes.
If Tony doesn't win this turn, it might be his last. Judge cut from Jack. W Jack.
Top 5, sir? You are?
Oh, he's based.
I'm sorry,
funny.
Anthony.
Dang, double Teofalt with Angel Ladder. That's pretty good. Pretty good. That's really scary. Anthony's hand is very small. This he might actually be in like major danger. 20 against 13, double intercept. Yep, that's very smart. Save cards in hand. And then this is Twin Drive. Looks like he's calling out the boy. And, excuse me. And Saragon, excuse my cat, she's loud. And Jack wants to put his hand in the frame. I don't know what's going on. No guard, Twin Drive. Okay, front. Oh boy. Damage check. No trigger. Oh, that PG would have been nice. And then I don't even know if he can guard. This is 20, 33. Oh, looks like he might be taking this. 43. No guard. Check.
Survey says.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense since they were healing a lot early. Dang, really good game. Tony comes out on top with the win. Dang, congratulations, Tony. Great game to start out with from Tony and Anthony. Really played out really well. Guys, keep a lookout for the rest of the round 1 videos. Make sure you check those out. And yeah, I think I'm going to commentate one other game in round 1. So thanks for watching, and thanks for joining the Empire Clash.